Do you think the things done to you are more the cause of the story of your life or the things you did? I'm Harry, the rugby fixer. Rugby almost fixed me, and now I fix stuff my clients need fixed but cannot fix. I use rugby and how it shaped me in the Western Cape, the Cape of no hope and good hope, the unfairest and fairest Cape in all the world, to handle scandals all over the world. It might seem odd that the nursery, the creche, if you will, of how I learned to solve the bloodiest, scariest, hairiest problems of the world was in a neighborhood like Constantia, beset by lilies in the field. But I suppose that taught me is that almost everyone, no matter where they live and how privileged it seems, can end up in a very dark place. Rugby taught me all of us can do things we are proud of, and all of us do things we're ashamed of, and we regret. And the memory of that keeps us safe, changes us, and makes us both interrogator and confessor. These are my confessions, the confessions of a rugby fixer. I've extracted confessions out of all kinds of people for decades. The first confessions I heard were in the locker room, or on the back row of the team bus, or on the pitch itself. When I broke a guy's shin in a tackle and it stuck out his sock, a teammate told me he was done with the game forever, and he was. My mother told me she was not proud of me. My coach was, I confess, very proud of me. I felt nothing. I felt robotic. One event, all confessed differently by all those people. And that always fascinated me about how people confess, and they always will confess. They'll do it on a cave painting 10,000 years ago in some French mountain. This is the confession of my bison hunt today. Everyone tells somebody, you gotta be that person. Confessions are now my inventory, my specialty, like a tight head's bind, like Artie Surveyor's dummy, like Villy's flat pass and Monty's no need to look. When I started, I wasn't as good at it as I am now. There were people who could confuse me, frustrate me, and even get me angry. I am sure there is still someone out there who could trigger me, but they'd have to get lucky, work really hard, and target someone I love dearly. The main reason I don't have an outrage weakness for someone to exploit in me is because I don't consider myself a righteous victim. I'm not righteous, and if I ever was a victim, I'm not one now. So I go into the room without that gaping giant hole they could target me with. The charmer, the sociopath, the bully, the silent, the jabberer, the connected, disorganized crime, organized crime. Maybe even the boss, or the worst one of all. I was just doing my job. So those people can try, but they won't get me thinking that I am the good guy in the story. Not always. And therefore, it matters more what I did than what was done to me. And if that's true, then I don't give them anything to work with. I've beaten, I have stolen, I have lied. I have been lucky mostly, and if you are honest, you can recall a lie like that, a list like that. Maybe you didn't beat, maybe you did something else. Maybe you're lucky too. What I would say to you is if you want to be an interrogator in the types of situations I am, when there is only one option, confession, if you cannot go into that room with a confessional mind yourself, if you go into that room with a false belief or artificial pride, what Bongi and Benambi would call plastic energy, you'll fail because you will find yourself in a very dark place, up against a very darkly constituted person. Instead, know thyself, know all you have done, and all that was done, and all that was noble, and all that was venal, and all that was weak, and all that was strong. Tell the story of your life straight and true. Be willing to make amends, but know that you may not be able to make amends because some things are too late, or you'd hurt the person more. Be solid in that truth. You're not always the good guy in every story, but you're not always the bad guy either. So try this. You'll find it will arm you and render you happier in life, but also if you are in the kind of profession where you need someone to tell you the truth, and that truth is very shameful or scary, this will make you hard to trigger, near impossible, and you will be able to get that out of them. So we say that a player saw a red mist, lost the plot, lost their mind, let the team down when they, like Jasper Wiese this year, did a soft headbutt on an Italian in a game that was never going to be lost. But then he got banned and the Bucks suffered a bit without him. We would like to scorn him. Why would you be so dumb? If you were the team shrink, I promise you this would not be the right question. And I don't even think you would say that to Jasper anyway, the Kalahari pain train. What possible benefit would it yield for him to admit that he was being dumb then? You could, as a coach or a teammate, tell a story about you losing your head in a game and how you learned not to. Top sportsman the world over, Roger Federer, hothead as a young kid, learned to control his temper. Now, so if you did that, if you came in with that kind of mindset and you told Jasper a story, you or Jasper or I would instantly feel the space, the opening in which to talk, and you might find his answers far more enlightening. And then you would know better how to help him. And you would also know how to help yourself, because you and Jasper are now sitting in a room not so very different, are you? In fact, your humility would inspire his. I've gained confessions by giving confessions many times. When I'm dealing with a young man, I use his ego to compete with my story. But don't try that with a false confession, unless you want to get a false confession right back at you. People in trouble have an innate sense of who's telling the truth. Since they know they're lying, they can feel it on the other person as well. Since they know what they have done and it's not pretty, they will tend to only go as far as you go, but first they want to see if they believe you or not. And thus, the Grand Inquisitor, the interrogator himself, is in the dock. Now, if you've already made peace with all you have done, you'll be fine. If you're still holding on to perfection, or if not perfect, they made me do it. That was not me. I don't even recognize that person. Or before you judge me for what I did, let me tell you all the things that other people did to me. If you're still in there, you're going to have a rough time in the room, trust me. You won't be a head coach either. The story is never as simple as we'd like. Our childhoods, ourselves. I grew up both fortunate and not. I grew up in art and plenty, but also in anger and violence. I grew up in a place where if beauty was had a say in what life was about, what evil could ever prosper in Cape Town? But life is not like that either. There were suicides in Honolulu, and there was a boy that's got joy in the bleakest prison. And there's everything in between. Characters in our lives are ambiguous, and so are we. And then my favorite poem comes to mind, Those Winter Sundays by Robert Hayden. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold there with his cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering breaking when the rooms were warm. He'd call and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house, speaking indifferently to him who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? When I considered the lilies of the field in Cape Town, how they grew just outside my house, in the fields where I walked to school, and the blood on those fields, and how some of the blood was mine. And why was it allowed? And why was I not allowed to take revenge? But I did. I did, and it was sweet and disproportional. I know what I did was even more vital to me than what was done. This is the beginning of wisdom and how to obtain a confession. Longfellow wrote, final verse of my lost youth, there are things of which I may not speak. There are dreams that cannot die. There are thoughts that make the strong heart weak and bring a pallor into the cheek and a mist before the eye. And the words of that fatal song come over me like a chill. A boy's will is the wind's will, and the thoughts of youth are long, long thoughts. We never really grow up. If you're sitting in a room and talking to a man about a thing that's very tough, you end up realizing that we're all children still. Once a man was trafficking humans from Manila to Monterrey into the US, a spider web of sex and lies and visas and promises, as if a modern Jeremiad, a latter-day slave ring, a cycle of depredation visited upon the world in anguished cries. Before the NBI in the Philippines will work with the FBI or the AJC in Mexico, all types of warnings and cooperations must be issued, so a guy like me is a solution. No Miranda warning, no rights, but also no protection for me. I had one shot. Get in the house, get a man named Victor to tell me the truth before he gets a lawyer or goes on the run. If he did, a multi-million-dollar ring would stay intact and just shift because on the lam, he was gone. I needed to nail him one shot. Remember that internal dialogue Andre Pollard confessed he had in the knockouts of 2023? What if I miss? Balls on the tee, take my backup. What if I miss? What if I will cause the loss? What if I miss for South Africa? But then that next thing he thought, but fuck it, what if I make it? So I just walked over a snowy yard and knocked on a door. Victor's wife opened, holding a baby whilst on the phone. I'm here for Victor, is what I said. She waved me in. On the phone. I sat down. Listen, by the time Victor showed up, I was on the couch in his living room, holding one of his grandkids, while the other grandkid was playing tea party with me, his son-in-law, a co-con, and his daughter, up to her neck in a conspiracy, 12 people in a house, paying her rent, and using her immigration services. Each thought the other had okayed my presence. The son-in-law, the daughter, Victor, the mom, the kids. But nobody had. So when he walked in, Victor, I loudly said the names of 3 victims as being who'd sent me to get paperwork. Nobody else in the room knew that was anything significant. I just needed the paperwork for the trip to Manila to get sorted. I gotta have his passport. All he could do was nod. Of course. And into the study, open the safe. How much time do I have? Not much, give it to me. Then I had it, and I made him a deal. I'll tell you the day before they come, but only if you always do what I say and tell me what I need to know on time. His wife, hovering, getting into the study, trying to get in and understanding why we were whispering. Back out into the snow, to my car, snow tires, push the button, call the agencies. I got it. I have him. Lilies of the field. Things I saw, things I cannot speak of except in my own mind because of a young boy's heart. But when I know I am the man to get the bad man to tell me what I need to know because I am not always the good man in the story, and neither are we in rugby. I'm Harry, the rugby fixer, and these are my confessions.